Travis. Vital. Wright. Vice Chairman Grills.
Here.
Chairman Halford. Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Ms. Clerk. Right off the bat here, we got a couple of things we need to take care of, or at least one thing. I guess it's housekeeping. Number 3 will be rolled 1 week. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Number 3, 2186 will be rolled 1 week. Are there any objections? Rolled 1 week. All right. Are there any personal orders from anyone up here? Seeing none, we'll get right into the business at hand. Chairman Doggett.
Present. Thank you.
Good to have you here, sir.
Since you called my name, I will make a statement there, Mr. Vice Chairman.
You're not recognized.
Okay. But later on, I was going to make a procedural motion to move back to Chairman Halford, but I will hold that to the end if we need.
I love you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. Moving on, we will start with item number 1 on our calendar, 2761. We have a motion and a second. Representative Gant, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman. I'll be very brief. What this legislation does is this bill directs TASER to conduct a study regarding the implications of utility solar energy development here in Tennessee.
You heard the explanation of the bill. I do believe you have an amendment on the bill. Is that correct?
Amendment makes the bill, yes, sir.
Okay. Well, we need to put that amendment on the bill. All right. We have a motion and a second on the amendment. The drafting code is 014200. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
All right. We have a motion, a second on the amendment. Any objections? Question on the amendment? All in favor say aye. Aye. Ayes have it. Back on the bill. Question. Chairman Halsey.
Thank you. I just wanted to know what utility scale means when you use that terminology.
Utility scale.
Yeah, it says the TASER's going to perform a study of the overall effect of utility scale solar energy. I just didn't know what that was.
Well, you don't know either. Mr. Representative, I don't know either.
Okay, well, so, I'll wait till the next time. Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
But I can get you that answer.
Representative Todd, Chairman Todd, excuse me.
I would submit that probably means on a scale where it's producing for a utility entity versus a home solar system. For example, I have a 24 kW system at my shop that's producing energy, and so it's not for utility though. It's just for basically my own personal use. So I would submit that's probably what this refers to.
Are there any other questions? Question on the bill? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Thank you, Chairman and Committee.
Refer to Finance, Ways, and Means. Now we're going to take a couple of items out of order. We're going to move down to number 6. Chairman Halford is going to make a 6, 7, 8. He's going to make some appointments here for the HJRs. Chairman Halford, you're recognized on 0673 if we can get a motion and a second. Properly motion second. Chairman Halford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. HJR 673 confirms the appointment of Mr. Bill Legg to the State Forestry Commission as an owner of 500 or less acres. His term will expire June 30th, 2026. I don't know if Mr. Legg's in the audience or not. If he is, raise your hand. Glad to have you here, sir. Mr. Legg is farms timber, cattle, sheep, row crops, and pine in Lawrence County. He's a member of the Tennessee Cattlemen's Association, Lawrence Farmers Co-op, Southern Middle Tennessee Forestry Association. Tennessee Forestry Association has a BA from the University of Alabama, but I'm sure he got to Tennessee as soon as he could. And attends West Point Baptist Church. So, Mr. Chairman, I would ask that we confirm Mr. Bill Legg to the State Forestry Commission.
We have a motion. We have a second. We have a motion and a second. Do we have any questions? Without any questions, can we'll be voting on the bill, or HJR 673. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes. To calendar rules. Next on the list, we have HJR HB074. Chairman Halford, if we can get a motion and second, you'll be recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. HJR 674 would appoint Mr. Tom Midget to the State Forestry Commission as a representative of the pulp and paper industry. His term will remain until June 30th, 2026. Is Mr. Midget in the office, in the audience? Okay, yeah, I see. Goodness. I was just talking to you out there, wasn't I? Previously, he has served as General Counsel and Director of Administration for East Tennessee Natural Gas Company. He was Manager of State Government Relations for Tenneco Incorporated. In 1999, he started Southeastern Advocacy, which is a government relations, environmental, legal management consulting firm which represents Packaging Corporation of America, helped in the creation of Tennessee Paper Council, active in several organizations around Knoxville. He has a B from Southern Methodist University, a law degree from the University of Tennessee, and has been at work in the forestry and paper industry for 25 years. Thank you, sir, for being here. I would ask that the committee confirm Mr. Midget to the State Forestry Commission.
We've heard the explanation. Does anyone have any questions? Chairman Todd?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just had a couple of things y'all might like to know about Mr. Tom Midget. He, like myself, can put away a pretty sizable plate of Asian carp and go back for more. The second thing is I really wish I had a leftover cowbell from Andy Holt's office to come alongside Mr. Tom and celebrate his strong support of the Bulldogs. Hail State.
Representative Shaw?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If I knew him, I'd vote against him. That's all I got to say.
Do we have any other questions? All right, we'll be voting on the confirmation of Mr. Midget. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? On the calendar and rules. Next, we have number 8, HJR 0782. Chairman Halford, you're recognized with a motion and second.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Drew Goddard, HJR 782 makes the appointment to the Heritage Conservation Trust Fund Board. That term ends in October 31st of 2025. Practiced environmental law for 30 years, elected to the American College of Environmental Lawyers in 2008. Former editor of the Tennessee Environmental Law Letter, taught environmental law as an adjunct professor at Vanderbilt's School of Law for 13 years, served on various committees and subcommittees of the Tennessee Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and co-chairs its Air Pollution Committee. Has been listed as Best Lawyers in America since 1991 and in Chambers USA since 2010. He graduated from Vanderbilt School of Engineering and graduated from Duke's Law School in 1978. I would ask that the committee confirm Mr. Goddard to the Heritage Conservation Trust Fund.
You've heard the explanation. Do we have any questions? If there are no questions, we'll be voting on the confirmation. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? On the calendar and rules. I'm sorry, HJR 782 on the calendar and rules. We need to go back. We just recognized item number 2. Chairman Byrd is here waiting to go to another committee, so we're going to take him out of order. Chairman Byrd, HB 2607. Can we get a motion and a second? Get a motion and a second. You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This bill simply allows the waste tire pre-disposal fee to be used to pay for disposal of tires in addition to recycling them. So it's pretty simple. It does not change anything about the manner in which a tire can be disposed of, but it does allow the waste fee to be used to pay the cost of shredding and disposal.
Do we have any questions for Representative Chairman Todd?
Can you explain me the flow of the money right now, what
Yeah.
it's doing, and what this would change, please?
Yeah, currently the consumers pays a $1.35 fee per tire when they purchase new tires. The purpose of the fee is to generate revenues to help pay the cost of disposing of the tire in the future. The dealer tire deducts 10 cents to offset the administrative burden of collecting and remitting the fee to the Department of Revenue. The Department of Revenue then sends $1 to the county where the tire was sold, and the remaining 25 cents goes to the Department of Environment and Conservation. So the dollar that's received by the county can currently only be used to pay for recycling the tire into a beneficial end use. So now they can use it to shred it as well. My understanding, there's kind of we have one company in Alabama that's kind of getting all the business, and the cost to take the tires to that company is costing a lot more than the dollar per tire. So hopefully they're hoping maybe this other part can help in maybe getting some tire shredders from among the different counties and use that to help offset it.
Chairman Todd?
Just to follow up real quick, so this just allows them to do more things with that money
Yes.
for the disposal of the tires.
Yes.
Well, thank you for bringing this. I know they've been needing that for some time, and would also hope that we can look in the very near future at incentivizing folks to actually utilize those tires for different purposes. I know we've got factories in our state that actually generate energy from these tires, and I think it would be a really good idea if we can help incentivize that first versus them going to a landfill. So
Right.
Thank you for bringing this.
You're welcome.
Representative Doggett?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This fee will be on the front end of the transaction, is that correct?
No, when you buy a set of new tires, then you have to pay that $1.35 per tire to the person that you're buying the tires from. And then he keeps 10 cents and sends the rest to the Department of Revenue. And
Chairman
then
Dodd.
they return, sends $1 back to the county where the tires were bought from.
Chairman Doggett?
Okay, thank you. Yes, someone had brought it to my attention that sometimes that there's a fee assessed on the back end of tires, a disposal fee as well, but this is, they may have some misinformation, but this dollar and change is going to go, it's a front end of the transaction and then goes from there. All right, thank you.
Chairman Cochran?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sadly, I know a little bit about what you were asking, Representative Doggett. So I believe there are manifested tires and non-manifested tires. I think maybe manifested are those that you pay on the front end. Now, I don't know at what point you decide whether a tire is manifested or unmanifested, but I do believe that there are some, if you were to take it to a landfill, they assess that fee maybe if it's unmanifested. So just to give you a little bit more information, probably that you didn't want to know, but that's I think whoever told you that is correct. Now, what decides if it's manifested or unmanifested, I can't recall, but I think you did get correct information.
All right. Are there any other questions? Ms. Cooper?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I just want to be clear on this. Does it mean that the customer will be paying $1.35 per tire as they purchase a set of 4 tires, new tires?
Representative Byrd?
Yes, ma'am. If you bought a set of new tires, then you would pay $1.35 per tire, and $1 of that would go back to the county for disposal of the old tires that you just turned in.
Representative Byrd, and thank you, Mr. Chair.
Are there any other questions? If not, we'll be voting on, make sure I get the right bill number, 2607. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? On to calendar rules. Thank you, Mr. Byrd, and
Thank you,
sorry
Mr.
for
Chairman. That's
holding
okay.
you up.
Thank you.
Now we're going to go back to item 9, HJR 784. Second, Chairman Halford, you're recognized. Thank you for working with us there.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. HJR 784 would confirm Mr. Bernie Butler to the Heritage Conservation Trust Fund Board. The term would run through October 31st, 2025. He's the founder and president of D9 Development, which focuses on historic structures in Franklin. Previously served as vice president of marketing and development and technology for the National Federation of Independent Businesses. He has a degree in marketing from Mississippi State University. I would ask the members to confirm Mr. Butler.
Is he here?
There you go.
We have a face with a name. Are there any questions? There's no questions. We'll be voting on the confirmation. HJR 784. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? On the counter and rules. All right. Next up, we have HJR 785 by Chairman Halford. We have a motion and a second. We have a motion and a second. Chairman Halford, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. HJR 785 would nominate or appoint Mr. Larry Zender, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, as a member of the Heritage Conservation Trust Fund Board. Term would run through October 31st, 2025. He has dedicated his career to helping cities and counties develop, honor, and promote their open spaces and natural areas. He has a BS degree in Recreation and Parks Administration from Clemson University. He received his certification as a Parks and Recreation professional via the National Recreation and Parks Association. Is appointed by the City of Chattanooga to transform its municipal park system. Once retired from his post in Chattanooga, he helped establish a water park facility in Hamilton County. He has completed park planning administration for Athens, Tennessee, Norfolk, Virginia, Charleston, South Carolina, volunteers for the National Park Partners, is a member of is a fellow of the Tennessee Recreation Parks Association, honored by Clemson University's George B. Hartzog Junior Environmental Award Program with the 2011 Benton H. Box Award. Mr. Chairman, I would ask that the committee confirm Mr. Zender to the Heritage Conservation Trust Fund. And is Mr. Zender here? There he is. Did I pronounce that right? Did I get close? Yes. Thank you.
You've heard the explanation. Representative Vital, I saw your hand go up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the committee, I just want to say Larry Zender has a long history of commitment to parks and open space. He served for many years, as was mentioned, as the Director of Parks and Recreation for the City of Chattanooga. If you've come to Chattanooga and experienced our River Walk, Larry Zender was part of that for over 20 years with the Trust for Public Land. This is a great appointment, and glad he's willing to give of his time. We only have one fault with him, and that's that Clemson University connection, but I move that he be supported for this appointment.
Are there any other questions? If not, then we'll be voting on HJR 785. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? On the calendar rules. Chairman Doggett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Would it be inappropriate for those that we have just voted on to nominate to address the committee briefly? Would that be inappropriate, or?
Would there be any objections? Without objection, then we'll go out of session, and we'll have each person come up and introduce themselves at the mic here, if you don't mind. Starting with the first one there, whoever that one was. Number 11. Bill Legg. Thank you,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Thank you. Bill Legg, Lawrence County. Did you want a biographical? I'm just so honored, so proud to be a part of the Forestry Commission, if I meet with y'all's approval. I've loved forestry and agriculture most of my life. Was not born and raised into it. I was a senior in high school when I got introduced to it, and at that time never saw it as a career. I was a mate and a federal pilot on merchant ships, and had bought a farm in '82, and have moved from Alabama now back to Tennessee. I am a Tennessean by birth, Shelby County. I just had the misfortune of being raised in Alabama, but I've been back here for a number of years now, and just so honored and appreciative to, to fulfill the responsibilities of this, honored position that I've been appointed to. I found out years ago that I could never be the smartest person in the room, but I could be the hardest working person in the room. So I promise you all 110% effort to fulfilling the responsibilities of that of this Forestry Commission position. Questions or comments?
Chairman Doggett.
I'd like to say thank you for your service. Mr. Legg is a constituent of mine down from West Point. And we are also graduates of the University of Alabama in Huntsville.
Hey,
so,
I didn't realize that.
Yes, sir. So we're in good company, and he's going to do a great job on the Forestry Commission.
All right. Well, thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Tom, you're next. All right.
How much time do we have, sir?
15 seconds.
Good. No, I want to thank you for the confidence that you have placed in me. I hope I have not stumped my toe too badly in the 5 years that I have already served on the Forestry Commission. I think that we have a vision of forestry that we can all be proud of. I had the, I guess, unfortunate experience of being on the commission in 2016 when the commission, the Division of Forestry, had probably the most challenging year in its history with the wildfires that we had all over the state that year. Thanks to you all, thanks to then Governor Haslam, now Governor Lee, we have made some big strides in helping protect this state from what could be of devastating wildfires. We will be confronted with those sooner or later. If we have the drought conditions, the heat conditions, the wind conditions, all of the ifs, but it's not a question of if, it's a question of when. And we need to be prepared, and I am very proud of what the Division of Forestry has accomplished in the last several years. That is my biggest, I don't want to say concern, but my biggest area of interest on the Forestry Commission is the wildfire situation in the state. So I look forward to serving another 5 years.
Thank you, Mr. Tom, for your service. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next on the list, we have Mr. Drew Goddard, however you say that. Maybe you can correct me.
It's Goddard. Nobody gets it right first time. I did notice that I, as the lawyer, was the only one you didn't ask to identify yourself earlier. I'm used to that, understand. I have been the chair of the Heritage Conservation Trust Fund since it was first formed for 16 years ago, I believe, and I suppose will serve as historian as well. My practice has been for 30 years representing primarily industry and occasionally cities and counties as regulated entities. And occasionally I get a question of how do you square working for industry with being concerned about the land and conservation and all of that? And my answer to that I'm hopeful is helpful to you is I grew up in Maryville, spelled Maryville, as some of you may know, halfway between the Great Smoky Mountain National Park and at that time the largest aluminum production facility in the world. And both of those are extremely important to that community. Both of those were incredible resources. And I simply refuse to believe that we cannot manage both and have both flourish and do well at the same time. Thank you.
Thank you for your service as well. All right. Next on our list is Mr. Bernie Butler.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to serve the great state of Tennessee, my adopted state. I moved here in '99 with my 40-year wife and high school sweetheart, Diane. And so we're thankful to be here. We love this state. And but I do look forward to learning from Drew, who's been a part of this committee since its inception, and getting up to speed as to exactly how I can help. But I've spent the last 20 years developing generational properties in downtown Franklin in the historic district. So it's critical that we manage things in the right way for the future generations. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Next we have, and last, Mr. Larry Zender. Wish we could give you guys more time, but we have a lot going on the schedule days.
Yes. Well, thank you. I've got a tremendous amount of information to share with you, but I understand the time issue. I want to say thank you for this opportunity. It's been my career for 45 years that I'm involved in conservation and parks and recreation throughout this country. Being on the National Recreation and Park Association, I had the Southeast Tennessee, or the Southeastern United States under my surveillance, and that included 10 states. So I understand what 10 states are doing as far as conservation and development. And I really am appreciative of the fact that this is the volunteer state, and I can come and volunteer to provide services from my perspective. I am a professional park and recreation certified professional, so I understand what's absolutely necessary. And our whole quality in Chattanooga was about the development of a quality of life for that community, from the dirtiest city in America to one of the most exquisite cities in the state. And it's been because we were developing the conservation easements, the greenways, the park areas, and an attitude that you invest in these things, that it's going to have a big return. And in our case, in Chattanooga, there's been a big return. But I hope that I can do the same thing with the state of Tennessee, and I'm very happy to be able to share with you my experience. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for your service, and God bless all of you on your tenure on this committees. All right, we'll go back into session without objection, and we'll be on item number 4 by Representative Hurt. That's HB 2150. Have a motion and a second. Representative Hurt, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. House Bill 2150 makes 2 technical changes to Title 64, Chapter 9, which is the statute that was passed during the 2021 Mega Site Special Session. The first section of the bill makes a technical correction to properly identify the survey and surveyor using the proper industry standard. The second section of the bill clarifies that the authority is not responsible for providing water and wastewater services to the Tennessee College of Applied Technology, or the TCAT, on the megasite property, which was the original intent of the initial megasite bill from special session. The TCAT never intended to obtain the services from the authority. Funding was not appropriated for that purpose, and it is more cost efficient for the TCAT to obtain the services locally or by using a septic system. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I'll take any questions.
Do we have any questions for Representative Hurt? Question's been called. Any objections? We'll be voting on HB 2150. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? The bill will be going on to calendar rules. All right, next on our list is number 5, 2167 by Chairman Todd. If we get a motion second, we have a motion second. You're recognized, Chairman Todd.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This particular bill expands mechanisms that the Department of Environment and Conservation may employ to use federal funds to subsidize loans for wastewater and drinking water facilities, and authorizes the commissioner to promulgate emergency rules and revises other provisions governing such loan programs. So this is dealing with federal money that we're getting under a number of different federal acts, and allows the department the flexibility they need in order to get those funds to the right places in our state.
You've heard the explanation. Do we have any questions? Seeing none, we will be voting. Make sure I get the right bill once again. On HB 2167, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? There are none. The bill goes on to finance. I do believe that conducts all of the bills and the HJRs we had today. Now we have three presentations this afternoon. So y'all hang around and watch these presentations. And Tennessee Forestry Association will be up first. We'll be going out of session to hear these. Are there any objections? We're out of session. If you would, just identify yourself, and you get all the technical terms worked out there with the presentation? Yeah. Sounds great. You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will thank you, Mr. Chairman, and the committee for microphone. How's that? Okay, thank you. So, Mr. Chairman and committee, thank you for hearing us today. My name is Wayne Anthony. I serve as the president of the Tennessee Forestry Association for this year. I am also the second Clemson Tiger you'll hear from today, so hope that's okay. I'm here on behalf of the members of the Tennessee Forestry Association, Candace, and our staff, and we appreciate your willingness to work with the association on issues of importance to the forest industry. So the Tennessee Forestry Association is made up of over 1,800 individuals who work in the industry. Tennessee Forestry Association members include forest landowners, logging professionals, and foresters who manage the resource. The association membership also comprises primary manufacturers that convert the trees into value-added products at our sawmills, paper mills, and OSB mills. In addition, the Forestry Association members work for secondary manufacturers like pallet, furniture, and flooring producers who make the finished products and add further value to the resource. The association supports the sustainable use of forest resources in the state and encourages the protection of water quality, the promotion of biodiversity, and the protection of endangered species through the Sustainable Forestry Initiative and the Tree Farm Program. In addition, the Tennessee Forestry Association provides logger training and public forestry education. The association recently has begun working with FAA and TCATS schools to prepare students for employment in the forest industry through our workforce development program. One relationship that I would like to emphasize today is our relationship with the Department of Agriculture Division of Forestry. The Division of Forestry provides support for many programs across the state, but they play a critical role in wildfire protection, annual data collection, and landowner forestry education. Therefore, we ask the legislature to continue to support the Division of Forestry's budgetary needs when they become present to you. Their efforts are critical to ensuring Tennessee's forest industry remains viable and growing and enhancing our state's rural economic development. So if you'll notice, we put a slide together that kind of shows the makeup of the forest in Tennessee. So currently, Tennessee's forests comprise about 14 million acres, which covers about 52% of the state of Tennessee. This land is owned by 530,000 private landowners who own about 84% of that forest. The remaining 16% is owned either by the federal, states, or local governments. These forests includes many small family ownerships that may own as small as 5 acres or so, up to large institutional investors who may own tens of thousands of acres across the state. The forestry that these landowners practice do provide a sustainable harvest. Annually, we're growing about 70% more volume than we're harvesting. This underutilization of the resource provides a very cost-effective resource for the current industry base, but it also offers the opportunity for improvement for others that may want to come into the state or for the current industry to expand. On the economic side, the forest industry provides $24 billion in total economic output. This is the timber plus the value add all the way through the supply chain. It supports 89,000 jobs with an annual payroll of $6.2 billion. And based on the economic studies that have been conducted, each job in the sawmill creates 2 indirect jobs, and each job within our paper mills creates 3. So it has a big impact outside of just those companies. And maybe of the most important thing is that 40% of the timber industry is located in distressed and at-risk counties. In fact, several of the counties that are distressed, as much as 15% of their economic activity is tied to the forestry activities in those counties. To put a little finer point on that, if you rank all the agricultural crops based on the payments to the landowner, timber ranks 5th behind the other agricultural products. But if you add the value that's created down through the supply chain, you can see from the slide that it's considerably high. It's the #1 product, or #1 agricultural product in the state of Tennessee. So that gives you a picture of what the industry looks like and the ownership. And so with that, I again thank you for your time and for hearing us out today, and would like to invite you to attend our reception tonight at Sheridan if you can. Thank you.
Thank you for being here and for the invite. Representative Wright, go ahead there.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for your presentation, but I've got a really pressing question here. Do you know anything about mulberry trees?
A little bit. we gave
My-
out a bunch today.
My mulberry tree passed away about 5 years ago. We grew up together on my mom and dad's dairy farm, and I think I now have a replacement, and I appreciate your focus on big business, but then focus on just one tree. It's amazing to me, and I thank you and appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Do we have any other questions? Oh, Representative Reedy?
This is for Chairman Wright. Please tell us what not to do with our mulberry tree so it'll last longer.
Representative Wright? You've been challenged.
The mulberry tree was significantly older than I was when I was born, and it lasted at least 50 more years. Well, no, it lasted longer than that.
Okay. Understood. All right. Well, thank you for being here, and I guess many of us can get there.
Great.
We'll be there tonight.
Great.
Thank you
Very
for the
much.
invite. Next on our list, Tennessee Beef Industry Council. Yes, sir. Representative Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can I take a personal privilege to help me welcome former Chairman Andy Holt, who is in the building. Could you give him a hand, please?
He got his attention. Yeah, he was. Good to see you, Andy. So you're going to tell us what's for dinner, is that right? I heard it was beef. You're recognized.
Can you hear me now? Okay. I feel like I'm on a commercial. Thank you. Thank you very much. Good afternoon. I'm Valerie Bass with the Tennessee Beef Industry Council. I really appreciate the opportunity to be with you this afternoon, and I've prepared a little packet of information in case you're interested in some of the things that I cover today. You've got a few things there, and I think you may have the presentation as well. Just to kind of go over some of the overview of the Beef Checkoff program, we have actually two components. We have a federal program that was enacted in 1985 through the Farm Bill, and then we have an additional Tennessee Beef Promotion program that was enacted, voted on by Tennessee cattle producers in 2012. The differences between these two programs is the federal program is $1 per head, and we send 50 cents of that dollar onto our national organization, the Cattlemen's Beef Board, for national research, promotion, and education work. And on the Tennessee Beef Promotion side of things, that's a 50-cent assessment every time an animal is sold or a cow is sold in Tennessee. Same thing with the federal program as well. Every time an animal is sold, that deduction is taken. Well, one of the differences between the two programs is that there is a 90-day refund clause on the Tennessee Beef Promotion. So if a producer is unhappy with the work that's being done, they can fill out a form, and we issue a refund of their 50-cent investment. On the federal side, there is not a provision for a refund. To date, our refunds have been less than 1% year over year, so I feel like that's a fairly good track record for the last 10 years. Both of the programs fund programs and promotions, education, and research regarding the beef industry, and I'll go over some of those different programs in just a few minutes. On the beef checkoff side of things, we have several different cattle organizations in our state that appoint folks to our board, and you can see them listed here: the Tennessee Cattlemen's Association, the Tennessee Farm Bureau, the Tennessee Livestock Market Association, the Tennessee Beef Cattle Improvement Association, and that's our breeds association, the American Dairy Association of Tennessee, and those are the same organizations that the Commissioner of Agriculture appoints from to the Tennessee Beef Promotion Board. These boards work in concert with one another. And no dollars from either of these funding sources can be used for influencing legislative activities. So that's one charge that we have. Here's just a little overview, a look at some of the cattle producers that serve on our board. I have the different organizations listed there, and I have the different counties that they're from. So I wanted to just let you know that the organizations that do appoint representatives to our board do a really nice job of trying to get folks from all parts of the state. So we have a wide variety of regions and counties as well as segments of the industry, which I think helps us make broader decisions. We meet quarterly, October, January, April, and July. And we also coordinate with our industry's long-range plan. And that is a plan that the national industry as a whole gets together and they map out a plan, a 5-year plan, and our Tennessee Beef Checkoff part of that kind of marries up, and we try to all row in the same direction to make sure that our funding, our sources of funding are maximizing producer dollars. The other thing on this slide that I wanted to point out is the men and women's names in red. Those are representatives from Tennessee that also serve on national boards or in national capacities. So our Tennessee voice is being represented sometimes on this long industry range plan on different committees that guide the way we spend dollars for the Beef Checkoff program and Tennessee Beef Promotion Program. As far as a return on investment, the last study that was done showed that for every dollar invested into the national program, returned an $11.91 return. And as far as Tennessee input, that would be, and the Tennessee cattle producers invest about 0.25% of their annual sales in the Beef Checkoff program and Tennessee Beef Promotion Program. Here are a couple of ways that we are using those dollars. We don't do a lot of research here, but we do some with the Tennessee Beef Promotion Funds. We primarily focus on consumer outreach and sponsoring different events and activities that educate consumers. We do a lot of things across the state. The first one I wanted to mention was our West Tennessee outreach, and we sponsor Memphis Burger Week last year, and the year before that have been a little bit challenging with some of the virtual elements, but last year we did a virtual chef's interview with multiple restaurants, including Elbow and Tops Barbecue. We accompanied that with a lot of social posts, and that event was pretty well attended and successful. The way that works is that for a week, the different restaurateurs put $5 on their burgers, and consumers come in and they try them, and then they vote on a People's Choice Award. So it just kind of brings a little bit of recognition to the beef industry, sells more hamburger, and something that people enjoy doing. We also sponsored Vintage 901, It was a beef and wine pairing session with sommelier Laurie Forrester, who was she's done several things for us, but she was there in Memphis and did a beef and wine pairing with some of the Tennessee wines as well. We also participated in a letter to the editor, which we used a dietitian there in Memphis, Blair Mize, with the Memphis Nutrition Group, and she did an article for us on the benefits of beef, and it did get picked up in the commercial appeal with a $720,000, readership, and that was social readers as well. And we also sponsored the beef workshop for the West Tennessee Family and Consumer Extension agents. We did that all across the state, so you'll see that in several of these updates. We were going to participate in the Memphis in May, but it's been rescheduled, or it was rescheduled from last year, and talks are still ongoing, so hopefully we'll be back in that. And that's a joint effort between beef, pork, and the Soybean Association and the Department of Agriculture. So we try to work together where we can. In Middle Tennessee, we had a wonderful promotion with the Wilson County Tennessee State Fair. I'm sure all of you are very well aware of that, but one thing that we did that was kind of interesting this year was it was their year of beef, and we had a Beef It's What's for Dinner Ninja course. And if any of you are familiar with the American Ninja Warrior competition, we had Lance Pecos come, who is actually an Idaho cattle producer who trains on the farm. That's where all of his training takes place. So he is a cowboy. We took him out to a Tennessee farm, and he wanted to meet some Tennessee cattle producers. And the 10 days of the fair, we had a competition every night, culminating with the finals on Saturday night, and Lance had several of his American Ninja Warrior competitors there with us, and it was a real crowd pleaser. And before every competition, Lance gave a talk about the nutritional benefits of beef and how he works out on the farm and the importance of cattle production. So he really did a nice job for us. In addition to that, we also had several displays in some of the in one of the consumer barns, or consumer expo center, which is a beautiful facility there on the Wilson County campus. We had 8 different exhibits. It was called the Pasture to Plate exhibit, and we went through pasture, how animals are cared for on different operations. We gave a little glimpse into a livestock market and had an auction running on a television so people could hear those sounds and see what that was kind of like. We showcased what a feed yard might look like and a processing facility might look like, and then a retail counter. And one of the things that I want to brag about is that that particular exhibit was entered in the from the fair. It was entered into the National Fairs and Exposition and won first place in that. So we are really proud of that. And then the Nashville Lifestyles Battle of the Burger. If you get an opportunity to go to the Battle of the Burger in Nashville sometimes, it's a lot of fun. They usually do it in April, so it should be coming up soon. So our winner last year was St. Stephen's Saint Burger. In East Tennessee, we did a couple of things that were a little unique. We did some school bus advertising that went over pretty well. We did that in Greene County and Washington County, focusing on elementary school buses, where moms would see that message, and kids might identify their bus from the beef bus or the burger bus. So we had some good feedback from that, and we also wanted to remind consumers that the message on there is, you keep families strong and communities stronger. Nicely done, beef. We also support UT Beef Day. We have a retail partner for that promotion, and it's Food City, and our promotion with them is every time consumers purchase beef 4 weeks leading up to our Beef Day with their value card, they're entered to win a ticket giveaway. They purchase fresh beef, and Food City runs that contest for us. Our food service partner is Texas Roadhouse, and they are on site that day and give away 300 pounds of top sirloin to fans, and cooking that and smelling that and getting the fans involved in that. We have an opportunity to speak with them, and also there is a producer interview on the game day telecast whenever it is that day. We also supported this year the UTIA Smoking School, and it was a huge success. Pitmaster George Ewart with Dead End Barbecue did the training, and there were, I think, around 50 participants, and he went through the whole smoking process. And in your packet that I gave you, here's one of the brochures that they used for that training. So you get a little, if you're a smoker at home, you can use that this summer, because grilling season is getting upon us. It's coming upon us. So we're really excited about that. That was another partnership between beef and pork and Bush's Best, Bush's Beans, and the university. And so we're really looking forward to being a part of that again this next year. And then also we sponsored Chattanooga Burger Week, so you can see all of the restaurants that participated there. There again, a $6 burger. Consumers in that area had a list of where these places were. They went in, they tried the burger. Some of them used a little passport where they tried to get as many burgers as they could, and then they did a People's Choice Award. So it's kind of a fun little thing just to get folks out and excited about burgers and excited about maybe recreating that on the grill. I'm not sure how my time is. Okay. Well, if you did get a copy of this report, there's a few other things in there, and I would just draw your attention to maybe looking at some of our national efforts that we've done. So I'll close there, and maybe the report will be out to them.
Thank you for that. Do we have any questions? Representative Wright?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Not a question. I need to make a comment. It's like the comment from the back earlier that I did register, do not plant my mulberry tree in a pasture field. I would like to make a comment on beef. Getting from the live head to hamburger is an issue in Knox County, Union County, Granger County, and that there are no facilities to facilitate that. I just want to get a mark on the wall with you. Thanks.
Thank you. I think there are plans underway to hopefully
Sounds great.
figure that out.
Do we have any other questions? All right, if there are not any, my next favorite thing to eat, I love to take beef and mix them with hogs and wrap a piece of bacon around a filet mignon and grill that thing for about 3 minutes and eat it. That's just perfect. But thank you so much, Ms. Valerie, for being here and for all you do with beef.
Thank you.
Next, we have the Pork Producers Association. You are recognized. Is Jamie going to help you out there? We're going to put the clock on you, okay? We have some technical difficulties.
Just a bit. Go to view. Go right here. Oh, view. Uh-huh. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, Vice Chairman, members of the committee, thank you all so much for allowing all of us to be a part of this meeting today. Before we begin, I will highlight, since you're hearing from just a few of the ag groups, remember March 22nd, and we're all laughing a little bit earlier. I think we're all receiving our Farm Bureau papers at home, but you will see all of agriculture, or we hope all of agriculture, here for a National Ag Day celebration in Tennessee. We are so excited about being able to come back in person. So National Ag Day celebrating, especially with you all, especially with everyone on the Hill. And we look forward especially to lunch, and you'll get to have some beef, some pork, some dairy, a little bit of everything. And that's what we all enjoy. I think all of us enjoy eating the great ag products here in Tennessee. I'm Phyllis Ferguson. I'm Executive Vice President with the Tennessee Pork Producers Association. With me is Jamie Weaver. He serves currently as president. You'll hear from him in just a minute, and I'll go fast. Vice Chairman Grills know us. I talk a little bit fast, so slow me down or ask a question if need be. But I think the request today was meet a little bit of our association, who we are, what we do, and maybe look toward the future as well. As you all know, pork production in Tennessee has changed through the years. I do appreciate Valerie highlighting some of the activities that they do with the Beef Council and how we partner, and that is one very big positive here in Tennessee. Our commodity groups work so positively together, and that's why something like Ag Day can be such a success for all of us involved in Tennessee agriculture. Who we are, there are our executive committee members. As I mentioned, Jamie is serving as our president. He is from Coffee County. Also on there, Rod Barnes is not with us today, but he's from McNairy County. Rod is a former ag teacher. He's also been a livestock producer for many years in sheep and beef as well as hogs. So that's what's fun, is that we have folks that have different agriculture endeavors, just like you all on the ag committee are involved in different businesses. Our farmers are as well. Also have Jamie Tosh over in West Tennessee. You'll hear a little bit more about Tosh Farms, as they are a significant pork producer in our state and in the country. Linda Phillips, she's a producer in Wilson County, Tennessee. She also coordinates the Wilson County Hog Show, which is now like the State Fair Hog Show as well. So a great group of volunteers, a great group of people, and that's what makes our organization, the Beef Council, the Cattlemen's Association, the forestry folks, just like you heard the gentleman earlier say, these are all volunteers, and they do support our individual associations, and when the need arises, they come together to address our agriculture issues. Again, the names of folks who are a part of our 9-member executive committee. Our pork producers operate with a set of We Care core principles. This is something that is devised from our National Pork Board. We operate primarily in Tennessee with a checkoff program, as Valerie explained with beef. With pork, our checkoff is a little bit different. 40 cents of every $100 of value goes to the checkoff program, and that is our primary source of funding here in Tennessee. The checkoff program is administered through Des Moines, Iowa, where the National Pork Board is located. A certain percentage of checkoff funds come back to each state. We rank 16th in pork production in the U.S., and we are appreciative that we still have the hog industry in our state. As I said, it is different than it used to be. We appreciate that we have different size operations and that everyone has kind of found a niche and that we can promote pork. Again, checkoff dollars, as Valerie said, go toward promotion, research, and education. No funds from checkoff are used toward lobbying activities. I did want to note, though, we do love promoting pork, and I appreciate Vice Chairman Grills mentioning how he likes to have a little beef and pork together. That's great. I know we all appreciate that. And I will denote, all of our animal proteins did see an increase in consumption in 2021. That statistic is from the United States Department of Agriculture, Foreign Agriculture Service, just showing how much that everyone is enjoying their protein products. And what's interesting, exports play a big part in all of our protein commodity industries. Like Valerie said, they're getting $11 plus with beef. It's kind of funny. It's $12 with pork production based on our exports. And as you all know, we operate in a global world, so it's very important that we keep that trade going. And we appreciate that it is, even in difficult situations when we've dealt with COVID and the world situations that we may have questions about. As I mentioned, did want to highlight Tosh Farms. I like the quote there from Jimmy. You guys have probably met him in years past. He's been here in previous Ag Day on the Hill activities. His son Jamie is still a member of our pork executive committee. You can see they do have a pretty sizable operation, 18,000 acres of farmland. And they are just about to open up a new sow facility, and I don't know how to say it exactly, if it's Buena Vista or Buena Vista from West Tennessee. Buena Vista. And they are going to have a grand opening of this 5,000 sow operation, and all are invited on April 1st to be a part of that, welcoming growth to their operation. It's also noted that Tosh Farms is the 30th largest pork producer in the country, and it is a family farm operation. And if you recall earlier, we do have the We Care principles, and one of those is community outreach, and that's something that's very important to all of our commodity groups, working with helping our communities when in need, especially in December when the tornado hit the western Kentucky area, Mayfield, Kentucky especially. Tosh Farms donated a semi-trailer load of pork products to help those folks out, along with some other donations a little bit later on. Tennessee Pork Producers has been involved. We call it the Give a Ham program, and it happens in December. We have, in times past, had a group of volunteers where we served and donated to the Nashville Rescue Mission, and my number is fed 850 people in 2 hours. So it was a lot of fun to share some bacon and the rest of the breakfast goods there. The other photo on the right shares a picture of a couple of young ladies that work with Tosh Farms. They're involved in recruiting new employees for their operation, because one thing that Tosh is committed to is growing and keeping jobs alive, especially in the rural, more distressed areas of our state. So we appreciate the work that they do to make sure that they are adding new employees. What we enjoy promoting pork, sharing the healthy benefits of pork. And I did happen to see Representative Grills before the meeting started, and he said, you know, it was interesting, folks previously at a meeting were interested in, you know, all of the co-products or byproducts like soybeans produce. It's very similar for beef and pork, the other things that we get. So we enjoy opportunities. COVID put a damper on that, but we do enjoy the opportunities to present to consumer groups and share our message and the other things that you get from the other white meat. And then a young lady there, Kayla Harville's daughter, Josie, she enjoys being in their farm and working with the pigs in the barn. And I put that slide up there just to illustrate that we have a close relationship with Farm Bureau to help us with policy issues. We have a close relationship with the Department of Agriculture. We appreciate Ms. Carol McDonald helping us as well on issues, but also with the State Veterinarian's Office. They're the ones that work closely with us. If there is ever a situation of a possible foreign animal disease outbreak, it's a collaborative effort. Our pork producers, especially with the efforts of Dr. Seth Krantz, who is the Tosh Farms veterinarian, but also a volunteer with our State Pork Association. He is on board. He works with State Vet's Office, Dr. Samantha Beatty, and we have a team to make sure that we are proactive and we keep disease out. This slide shares with you a little bit about the future. On the left, you see the setup at Tennessee Tech University. This was in January this year. You had almost 500 head of hogs from young people across the state being exhibited at the State Junior Swine Show. 4-H FFA members from across the state come together, and folks that exhibit livestock, they enjoy the pig project because it's shorter. I actually have beef cattle on the side, and my daughter showed cattle all throughout, and that's kind of a year-long project. Folks that show pigs and pork, it's shorter, and it gives an opportunity for them to be a part of the industry and learn a little bit. And that's why we say let's look toward the future. The young man on the right, I also had the opportunity to have some special memories with some young people, my daughter included, of judging meats at the national level. They won the state contest, had the opportunity to do 2 national contests, and again, not asking for any money today, but you said look toward the future. So the future is, it would be great if our USDA inspected livestock processing facilities here in Tennessee had a little bit more opportunity to have training for their workforce. And the way to do that is have a meat slab. Jamie is a former member of the judging team on the meats judging team at UT, and I know he enjoyed it at that time, but the slide was taken at Kansas State, so it'd be great if we can have, you know, a situation like that in the future, if we can look toward a meat slab. And I know that there are opportunities for growth. Again, you have 19 USDA inspected processing facilities in Tennessee with room for growth, like Representative Wright mentioned, and I know that they need workforce development, and that's a great way to, I hope, plant the seed for that. Commissioner Hatcher is supportive of it. The University of Tennessee Institute of Agriculture is supportive of it. They are in the works of hiring a new meat science specialist so that everything can come to play together. Finally, last slide shares, we enjoy our Taste of Elegance activity. Representative Shaw has attended before, Representative Halford, Representative Grills. It's a chance for chefs to be together, create a new pork entree, and for us to promote that great pork that we all enjoy. The slide on the right with hands up, that's what you look like after you've served 500 pork sandwiches when we were at that state hog show. That's Brandon Witt, who's just rolled off of our committee, Rod and Dolly Barnes, my daughter's up front, and we were happy that we served that many folks, and we had a great time. Hands up, my time's done. Jamie's here if you have questions on the producer side.
Thank you for that enthusiastic presentation. Jamie, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? We're about out of time, but just go ahead and introduce yourself and just take a minute or so there, if you don't mind.
Like Phyllis said, my name's Jamie Weaver. I'm a producer In Coffee, Franklin counties, the county line runs right through our farm. So like I tell everybody, we get the pleasure of paying property taxes in 2 counties and switching back and forth the counties. Diversified operation with my father. We row crop, beef cows, pigs, sheep, have a great vineyard. It's a very diversified. I've been in all, Phyllis talked about the industry changed. I'm fixing to be 42 years old here in June. I've been an independent producer where I've seen, in Coffee County, we had over 200 people raising pigs. That faded out for 10 years. We contracted with Tosh Farms out of West Tennessee. We did that for 10 years. And now we've transitioned to the next part of the pork production. We're a small retail pork business. So now we retail beef, pork, and lamb at farmers markets and on the farm. So I've been in all aspects of the industry, and so we're always trying to change something about a pig. We just can't let a pig go from the farm. So again, thank y'all. I know y'all short on time. Thank y'all for letting us come here today and give a few words. Again, I know as a pork producer, enjoy pork chop and a piece of bacon, and we just appreciate all that y'all do for us. Thank you.
No doubt, no doubt. Does anybody have any questions? All right, if there's not any questions, thank you all so much for making the trip up today and taking some time to present to us. We need to go back into session now. Without objection, we're back into session. We need to reconsider our actions on HB 2167. We sent that to Finance, Ways, and Means, and it needs to go to GovOps. So without objection, can we? Thank you, Chairman Wright, or Representative. We have a motion and a second to send. Now we're going to vote to send this to GovOps, HB 2167 to GovOps. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. On to GovOps. Now, thank you, Chairman Hoffer, for giving me the opportunity to chair today. I hope I didn't make a mess of it, but we'll appreciate you more now. But thank you all so much for being here. God bless, and we have a motion to adjourn. We'll get out of here. We are adjourned.